Alright guys, today is an episode of the best of the rest, all of the weekend's football that I haven't covered so far that I watched. We'll get straight into it. Aston Villa beat Everton 2-1 at Villa Park, and it was a much more convincing performance than the one at Bournemouth last week. However, it does look slightly worrying for Everton, because it was not a good performance from them, and it does look like it's just going to be another tricky season for Everton, to be honest. They are really struggling at the moment without a striker in their team. Like, if you're a defender on the opposition team and you see a front line of Damari Gray, Dwight McNeil and Anthony Gordon, it's not going to fill you up with fear, is it? If we're being totally honest. And Villa just were the better side on the day. They got the opening goal through Danny Ings. It was a brilliant goal, well played by Watkins, but Ings to control it, but then not get enough on it, but then decide to go the other way and lash it in with your weak foot and just turn Abdoulaye Doucouré inside out was just brilliant. I thought Doucouré once again had a bit of a poor game. He was caught out of position a couple of times, especially for the first goal. Where he was late getting back into position, which then caused him not to be ready for when Danny Ings did receive the ball. So not good enough from him, in my opinion. Diego Carlos also had a good chance in the first half to score on his home debut, but it came off his shoulder more than anything and went over the bar. But sadly for him, it seems as though he could be out for a few weeks now, because Stephen Gerrard in his post-match interview has said that I think he said something about an ankle injury and that Carlos is in crutches, which is not what Villa will want to hear. But yeah, Villa, part of their performance, I think, was down to bringing two of their players back in. I'm not the biggest Tyrone Mings fan ever. I think Ezri Konsa's the better footballer, but I think when you've got a new defender coming into the team like Diego Carlos, you need a leader in the back line, and that is what Tyrone Mings is. He is someone who can organise the Villa defence, and that is what Villa were. It's slightly more than last week, a bit more organised. It wasn't the best defending on some of Everton's set pieces, especially the one where they nearly did actually score. Well, no, they did score, but it was off. It was it a foul or offside? Anthony Gordon scored, but it got disallowed. And they did still look a little bit shaky from corners, but it definitely wasn't as bad as last week. The second Villa goal came from Amadou Onana, who came off the bench, losing the ball in midfield, and Buendia and Watkins doing a nice one too, and Buendia tapping it into an empty net. Just a well-worked goal, more than anything. A bit sloppy from Onana, but he made up for it within seconds. Going up the other end, putting a cross in and forcing Lucas Digne to put it into his own net. Onana, it was good to see the way he responded to making that mistake. It was a powerful run he made into the box and good to cut inside. So yeah, that is a little bit of I don't know, a silver lining for Everton, if you like, because bar the mistake he made for their goal, he did look quite good when he came on, nearly scored right at the end as well. Watkins coming back into the team as well for Villa, that definitely helped. He just seemed to have a lot more about him than Leon Bailey did last week, and was constantly causing Everton's defence problems, getting into good positions, and set up both goals. So really good performance from Watkins, and I think he needs to be in the Villa starting 11 every game. Coutinho had a bit of a quiet game. Jacob Ramsey was quite good, but yeah, that's most of it covered. Everton, again, it's just not looking good for them. And I suppose when Tom Davies came on, he was a bit better than Doucouré. I thought he looked like he had a bit more control in midfield than Doucouré, but still, it wasn't a good performance from Everton, if we're being totally honest. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. Can you imagine saying that 10 years ago? It's ridiculous. But, I mean, Brentford were just so much better, and that is the truth. Josh De Silva got the opening goal, its second goal of the season, and yeah, after all the injury struggles he's had, it's nice to see him doing well. But it was just shocking from David De Gea. He can't let that slip through his gloves, and it's not the first time he's done something like that. I'm not even a Man United fan, and I can remember a goal he conceded against Watford 2 or 3 years ago at the Vicarage Road, where he did a similar thing. And yeah, it's just poor from De Gea. And a few minutes later, he does another mistake, plays it to Christian Eriksen when Eriksen's got Matthias Jensen stuck to his back, and Jensen nips the ball and cuts inside of everyone and puts it into a half-empty net. And yeah, just poor decision making once again from De Gea. Why on earth did he just not kick it long? If you're not sure, just boot it long. But I have to say, Brentford's pressing was just on another level. All 4 attacking players, if you like, Ivan Toney, Bryan Mbeumo, Matthias Jensen and Josh De Silva were all brilliant in the first half, especially. Just didn't give Man United's defence a moment's peace. Causing Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez all sorts of problems. And yeah, just a brilliant first half from Brentford. It's got to be performance of the season so far, 100%. The third goal just came from a corner, and once again, Ivan Toney wins it at the back post. And Lisandro Martinez is marking Ben Mee on the line. There's been an ongoing debate about, is Lisandro Martinez too small to be a Premier League centre-back? And from today's game, you would have to say, yes, he is a bit, because if you cannot deal with something like that, just like Ben Mee at the back post, Ben Mee's not the biggest centre-back ever, and he's just grappling with him, and Ben Mee's falling over and he still wins the header. It's ridiculous. And Martinez, even when it wasn't like aerial problems, he still had a poor game with the ball at his feet and his positioning at times, especially for the fourth goal. All the United defenders were pushed up too far, and they weren't in a solid compact line. They were all, some of them were out of position, some of them were too deep, some of them were too far forward. And it is a brilliant goal, to be fair to Brentford. Booted forward, Ivan Toney Ivan Toney gets to the ball first and plays a wonderful left-footed half volley pass across the turf to his teammate Bryan Mbeumo. Curves it around Lisandro Martinez perfectly, and Luke Shaw and Mbeumo are having a foot race to get there, and Mbeumo wins and scores a one-on-one versus De Gea. Just superb. Like, fair play to Brentford, they were absolutely amazing. And 4-0, 35 minutes. Man United have never had anything like that before. And yeah, they just didn't create anything at all in the attack first half. Brentford's defence kept all of the attacking players, Ronaldo, Sancho, Rashford, all really quiet. United's midfield wasn't good enough. Their defence wasn't good enough. Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Fred, Eriksen, Fernandes, all not good enough. They all kept losing the ball in midfield and were all out of positions on multiple occasions throughout the game. In fact, Martinez was that poor that he had to get hooked at half-time for Rafael Varane. God knows why Rafael Varane isn't starting. He's a Champions League winning centre-back on multiple occasions. He's a World Cup winner, and he's played for one of the greatest football teams of all time in Real Madrid. Why on earth is he not starting ahead of Harry Maguire or Lisandro Martinez? It boggles my mind. The second half, United created a few chances, but not enough. Brentford also created a few chances, but they didn't need to do much. They'd already won the game after half an hour. So, yeah, in the end, not a lot happened in the second half. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's shocking at Man United at the minute. And then finally, Nottingham Forest scored their first goal in 23 years in the Premier League. to beat West Ham 1-0 in their first victory in 23 years, in their first home game in 23 years as well in the Premier League. And yeah, the goal came from, it was a very scrappy goal, scuffed Jesse Lingard shot that fell to Taiwo Awoniyi, who managed to bundle it in with his knees. But how West Ham did not score in this game is beyond me. They had a goal disallowed before half-time, just before Forest scored, actually, scored by Said Benrahma. And for me, it wasn't the greatest defending by Forest on that particular moment. Jesse Lingard had to run back and mark one of the West Ham players. But of course, Jesse Lingard is not a centre-back, so inevitably sort of steps out of position and allows space for Benrahma. Rice picks him out, Benrahma scores, but Mikel Antonio does one of the stupidest things I think I've ever seen. Just literally runs into Orel Mangala, arms out, and full on pushes him. Now, if you're being pushed with force by Mikel Antonio whilst he's running at you, you know about it. You're not going to be able to stay on your feet unless you're Romelu Lukaku or, I don't know, Patrick Vieira. So Mangala inevitably falls over and the referee chalks it off correctly, in my opinion. Just absolutely idiotic from Mikel Antonio, I think. But yeah, how West Ham just didn't score throughout this game is incredible. They nearly had one in the first half where the ball nearly bounced off Souček after a Dean Henderson save. Harry Toffolo clears it off the line. Nico Williams made the last-ditch clearance off the line in the second half. Dean Henderson saved a penalty from Declan Rice. It wasn't the greatest penalty ever, but I just thought that when Dean Henderson was on the line, Dean Henderson's going to save this, isn't he? Because I remember a few years ago watching him throughout Shrewsbury's 2017-18 season, and he just makes so many penalty saves that year. He made one in the playoff final as well. And I just thought, yeah, he'll save this. It's a massive game for Forest. He'll step up to it. And he did. And yeah, although when the penalty was given, I thought Scott McKenna was very lucky to stay on the pitch. He definitely used his arm to, block the ball from going in. The only his saving grace was that Dean Henderson was right behind him and could have possibly saved it. Probably would have, but yeah, for me, I think if I was the referee, I probably would have given a red card, to be honest. So he got slightly lucky, I thought. And yeah, West Ham also hit the bar on two nearly identical occasions where it's bounced up off the line in the air and Dean Henderson's managed to claim it or save the rebound. Both were from Benrahma free kick and a Pablo Fornal shot. Forest also took the lead early on in the second half through, doubled their lead, through Brennan Johnson, but it did correctly get disallowed for offside. Just an incredible game of football. You're not going to see many better 1-0s all season. And Forest, their entire team were just really solid and played really well. And that's everyone from Joe Worrell to Brennan Johnson up front. All of them played really well. Yeah, and the few players that I pick out playing especially well were Dean Henderson in goal, made some vital saves. Nico Williams and Harry Toffolo as the wing-backs, they were causing all sorts of problems for West Ham in that first half, especially. Nico Williams made so many great balls to Taiwo Awoniyi that nearly came off. And the midfield pairing of Lewis O'Brien and Orel Mangala played really well as well in their home debuts. So really positive performance from Nottingham Forest, especially the defensive aspects of it. West Ham, they played quite well, to be fair to them. It's one of them games where they just got really unlucky. Just nothing would go in for them. But yeah, I think on the occasion, I think most football fans will be happy to see Nottingham Forest get a win, to be honest. They've been waiting for a while for it. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.